Hi everyone, it's Roger and Abe here from DisKingdom.com, and in this episode we're going to be talking about the animation panel from the D23 Expo, which Abe attended. So I'm going to pick this one straight over to Abe, and pretty much it's, you can tell us about that animation panel and what you saw and what you're excited about for about the couple of years ahead by the looks of it.
Sure. I hope I remember everything because there was so much. Let's see. Well, the animation panel, obviously, they started out with Walt Disney Animation and ended the whole thing with Pixar. But on the Walt Disney side, they got some cool things coming. We got to see Zootopia with some really awesome clips from Zootopia. Had the whole place laughing like crazy because it does seem like this is definitely going to be like one of those like comedy. Cop, buddy cop comedy type of thing. Even though both of them aren't cops, but it looks good. There's this really hilarious scene, because basically what they're doing with Zootopia is they wanted to do another like our modern day animal in a human world type of movie, kind of like we had Robin Hood back in the day and all that stuff. So now we have this. So they basically had the animals in what would be our real day, except we didn't exist. So you had the DMV, and what other better employees to play the DMV than sloths? So they were like just really slow, and the way they were, it was hilarious. And I love Judy. She's the Judy Hopps. She's the rabbit. That's the parking patrol. I love her character. I don't know why. I mean, obviously, I would feel like I would be drawn to the fox more, but I just love how she's like very hyperactive, very ready to go, wants things done. Although the fox and his little sidekick, which I forget his name, but it's like this little baby fox wearing an elephant suit. Hilarious, a hilarious duo. Anyways, we have really good things to come with this movie. It's coming out in spring of next year. Definitely one to take a look at. It's you have to see it. It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen the trailer and stuff. I was going to say, because it's one of those movies that I think this is the thing with all the sort of the animations coming up. Like right now, obviously we've only seen teaser trailers and a few bits and pieces, but in the next 2 years, we are going to really see a lot more of this stuff in Zootopia. I'm expecting once we probably get past Christmas, we'll really start to learn a lot more just before that'll be when they start pushing it a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to take full swing, like as far as like commercials and whatnot, or like even advertisements on the road. Another movie that they talked about briefly, not too much, but it was something I didn't hear about. This was the first time I heard of it. I guess it had another name before, but I really didn't pay attention to it. It's called Gigantic.
Yeah, Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah, it's basically Disney's take on Jack and the Beanstalk, not remembering, obviously, the Mickey Mouse episode back in the day. But this is the full-length take by the animation studio, and the story is set in Spain. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a nice little twist to the story. But you have the guy who goes up. I forget his main name. Again, this was no. I think they gave him a different name, my friend, because it's in Spain.
El Jack.
El Jack. Whatever. All right. Anyways, something happens in the story where he goes up the beanstalk, and actually, instead of it being like just the world of one giant, it's actually a world of giants when he gets up there. And they did talk about the first interaction with the giant, which is this little girl who takes him as like a toy, and she wants to play with him as her little doll. But the cool thing about this is that the Lopez couple is writing the songs for this. You guys aren't sure who they are. They are the ones responsible for the Frozen music. They're the ones that won the Academy Award for Frozen for writing all the music. So they're the ones in charge of the music for this movie. They did give us a little taste of what one of the songs that they had written already. It looks good. That's probably, to be honest with you, though, out of the entire animation panel, it's probably my least favorite of the whole presentation. But it was still good. It was still good. So. I do like the fact that they're setting it in Spain, so obviously it's going to add a nice little twist to the whole thing. Go
I was
ahead.
just saying, 'cause it's out in theaters 2018, so it's quite a while away yet. So
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be learning a little bit more about it. This is the cool thing with the 23 Expos. They kind of sort of show off different things a bit early, so we can find out what they are, etc. But no,
Sorry,
that's
I needed
cool.
to make a shift there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um,
So yeah,
Go ahead.
carry on.
Okay. Definitely the highlight of the Walt Disney Animation side was Moana. Moana is basically obviously a new take on. Well, actually, it's a different story. I've never heard of it. I guess it's another fairy tale, but it's set in obviously the Hawaiian Islands, and almost has like a Lilo feel to it, but it also has a little Pocahontas feel to it as well.
Yeah.
But oh man, the animation looks amazing. The little girl is cute in the beginning. They finally revealed what she looks like as an adult. No longer looks like Jasmine, which is great. So everybody was happy about that. But I think the biggest thing of the whole presentation was, well, actually, there was a lot of things to that presentation. But The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is playing. What's his name? He's playing one of the gods, like one of the main gods. But he has
Demigod Maui.
Maui. Thank you. He's playing Maui, and they revealed what he looks like. They showed little clips here and there. This is being directed by the same guys who did, Aladdin, Ariel. I'm sorry, Little Mermaid, not Ariel. Little Mermaid, the Frog Princess. So these guys are great. The animation looks phenomenal, by the way. Obviously, this is not hand drawn. This is still computer animated, but they gave us like this awesome clip where they also wanted the ocean to be a character. So they actually have this scene where it's Moana as a little baby going into the ocean, and the ocean's kind of like nurturing her and taking care of her while she's going in there, and she's picking up little shells, and it's really cool. I don't know why, but I also felt like the ocean almost gave me this feeling of flubber, because it's kind of like liquidy and moves in the way it waves its hand and everything. But I don't know. Moana looks very promising. I think it's going to be a very popular film. What's up?
Yeah, well, the thing is, for me, I must admit, this is the one I'm really intrigued about, because obviously it's got The Rock in it, so that's kind of instant sell to me. But also, I love anything like Hawaiian based and like stories and stuff, because to be honest, it's still kind of very exotic and different, especially like from like an international point of view. I did get to go to Hawaii about 10 years ago and loved it there. So it's one of the ones that they've all announced that have kind of really shouting that to me, that I'm probably gonna, the music, because it was a bit like that with Lava. I love that how like ukulele kind of, sort of style. So that's something I'm really kind of interested in, is that Moana. I must admit, if you put all of them out there and said which one do you want, you could only see one, that would be the one I would pick as the one I'm most interested in. So that's something I'm really kind of excited about.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I mean, I don't want to like jinx it or anything, but that one's definitely going to win Best Animated Picture for sure. It looks so beautiful the way it's rendered, and the story looks to be pretty awesome. So I can't wait to see that as well. I don't know if I'm missing any on the Walt Disney Animation side. I can't remember.
Coco.
No, that's Pixar. So Walt Disney Animation, I think it was those three. Anyways. If I forget any, sorry, but moving on to Pixar. Pixar obviously was a main event because everybody loves Pixar. And they started off with, I was blown away by this one. I didn't expect it this way because obviously, I had a different take on it since 2013. But The Good Dinosaur, they showed, they basically gave you a brand new presentation from what the one that I had in 2013 was night and day compared to this one, because it was different. I mean, ever since this movie was put on hold and reworked, I mean, the cast has been recasted, so there's no same voice in there. I think actually there's one, but I don't remember who that was, and it's not a big character. The story has been rewritten. I don't know if these dinosaurs are farmers anymore, but they might have some type of feel to that, because I know the T-Rexes are wranglers, so it might be similar. But this movie, it brought a lot of tears to a lot of people's eyes, because there was this one scene that they showed us with Arlo and Spot obviously interacting and meeting for the first time, and they both got separated from their families, and so it's like they're trying to tell each other, because Spot doesn't communicate, he doesn't talk. Spot acts more like a dog than he is a human, obviously, but that's obviously Arlo's a dinosaur, so it's like they don't know the way they act to each other. So, anyways, there's just one scene that brought so many tears to a lot of people's eyes because it just shows Arlo trying to explain his family to Spot, and Spot trying to show his family to Arlo, but then Spot decides to show what happened to his parents, and he kind of like makes, they put him up with little twigs, and he kind of knocks down his parents and, buries them because they both passed away. And so Arlo does the same with his dad. A lot of people were sad. But anyways, this story looks promising. This definitely looks night and day compared to the original story they were giving us before. The animation looks clean and sleek. And I think the T-Rexes were kind of funny too. So it's definitely a movie I'm looking forward to. It's gone through a long journey, so hopefully the final product turned out to be awesome. So we'll see how that comes out. Were you going to say anything about it?
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing with the Good Dinosaur is, I think it's a good. I think the thing with the dinosaurs is, there's quite a bit of a buzz around dinosaurs again at the minute because it kind of, I think with the Jurassic World kind of has caught a lot of. And I think as well, like with this one, this kind of slides to me like into that same thing as well. Kind of appeals to kids with dinosaurs because kids always love dinosaurs and stuff. So I'm really excited about this. I don't really, it's like I said, I've seen the trailer and a few bits and pieces, but obviously not as much as you. Again, it's kind of interesting because it's the next Disney movie now for us. So that's the one that I'm looking forward to seeing in November when it comes out. But
absolutely.
Yeah, carry on.
The next one was obviously one of the most anticipated ones, which was Finding Dory. And yeah, it's great. I mean, they brought most of the cast out. Obviously, Ellen came out. They even showed clips of her on her TV show, just how much she's campaigned for a Finding Nemo 2. And it turns out that they made it around Dory, so it's Finding Dory, which is awesome. But anyways, they introduced us to her parents, her siblings, and basically the story. How she has this memory triggered in her mind. She's like, when she's asleep, she'll start like sleep swimming, I guess.
Yeah.
And Nemo is always trying to stop her, and Marlin's trying to help. And then finally, Nemo says something that triggers her address or where she's supposed to go, and it's somewhere in California, which is funny. I forget what it was called because I never really heard of it. This was the first time I heard of it, but it basically leads everybody to this institution where they rehabilitate wildlife, wild sea life, I guess. And once they're rehabilitated, they actually put them back into the wild. And so that's where she's headed to find her family. And she runs into all these different types of animals that have issues. One of them was my favorite, which was the this octopus that has 7 legs. And it's funny. The story looks great. I'm sure they're gonna do Dory justice because obviously that's a beloved franchise with Finding Nemo. But yeah, the whole presentation of that, they gave us so much. Like we got to see how they animated certain characters, and just basically her entire journey. It's gonna be a really good movie, and that's slated for next year, which is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, June. So this is basically this is Inside Out. For next year. That's cool. I must admit, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I love the Finding Nemo movie. I absolutely love it. But there's kind of this thing with this one for me is, I will be honest, it's probably the one I'm probably the least excited about out of all the ones they announced in the animation panel because it's a sequel. And that might everyone else is obviously the characters from this one. It's that kind of thing of all the other ones are new characters, new thing, and I'm a lot more excited about the new stuff coming and new characters, new brand franchises than maybe I'm doing Finding Dory. Because sometimes with these kind of movies, is sometimes you kind of like to leave them where they are, where they've kind of Finding Nemo is such a classic, such an all-time great movie. You kind of like that was good, that was great, just can we just leave it alone and let it just be, because sometimes I think maybe too many straight to video kind of things have kind of watered down things over the years. So I'm always a little bit more skeptical. But I know with Pixar that they generally are in a kind of a different league when it comes to sequels, and this will just kind of stand out on its own. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. Again, I'm a big Finding Nemo fan, and I think a lot of people are with this one.
Yeah, I kind of share your same feeling. I think I did lose some of that, though, when they introduced a bunch of the new characters. So hopefully that's going to be enough for us. But we'll see, like you said. Hopefully they'll do it justice. But let's see, moving on. They finally, there's been this movie that Lee Unkrich, the guy who directed Toy Story 3, he's been working on this project that has to do with Dia de los Muertos, which it's Day of the Dead for Mexico. And they finally revealed the title of it, which is Coco. They didn't dive into it much. Clearly, the Coco, to me, the assumption that I get might be a princess, might be a female love interest or whatnot. But the main character is a little boy named Miguel. So I don't know. It's they showed us some test footage of the way they animated it, and it honestly does. It does the holiday of Dia de los Muertos way more justice than the Book of Life did, because the Book of Life was a joke, in my opinion. But no, this looks good. They've done a lot of research. They actually showed us a bunch of the traveling that they did to do research and to go in these little cities and little towns in Mexico. And then, like I said, they did show us this test footage. And you hear mariachi and the basically the people celebrating in skull costumes. And just doing this dance, and at the very end it reveals one of the skulls' face falls off, and it's the little boy Miguel. So it looks kind of interesting.
Was it 2017 or 2018? Is it?
I think it's 17. I think it's 17. Yeah.
See, again, I was going to say this again. It kind of slides into that Moana thing for me as well, because for me, a big fan of like sort of Mexico and culture and stuff, and this again is a brand new story from the point of view the most, especially maybe more so like an international audience and stuff. This is a brand new story, a festival that's not really very much known outside probably the area. So this is again something for me I'm really excited about, because the idea of having new stories and something different and having that whole different culture, and I'm loving the fact of them kind of spreading their wings a bit and kind of like we always say about like fairy tales, where quite often they're very like European sort of classics that we've known, we've known for hundreds of years, and they retell like gigantic. So the idea that they're going into other countries, areas, and other planes and taking some of their classics and giving them to a brand new global audience, really exciting. So I must admit, Coco was the one that kind of didn't know anything about it beforehand, and that was the one out of the Pixar ones was like, that looks really interesting for me.
You know what? I was glad to see it, to be honest with you, because I was afraid that they were going to cancel this one. I mean, I don't know if we remember back when there was this project, this movie called Newt, and it was a movie about two, I guess, this rare breed of lizards, and they were supposed to get together and breed so they can maintain the species. But unfortunately, another company released something called Rio, which is a very similar story, and so Pixar had to cancel Newt. They actually put it in the back burner. So I was afraid that the Book of Life, because Lee Unkrich has been, he announced that he wanted to do a Dia de los Muertos movie a long time ago. It was one of his pet projects, and when I saw Book of Life showing up, I was afraid it would be canceled. But I'm happy to see it still alive and well. So
yeah, and also maybe giving it a few years break will be long enough. I mean, I haven't seen Book of Life, so there's that, and also it's a completely different audience. I think Disney and Pixar have a much broader scope, and I think if they leave it a few years, it's not like we're having the Ants and Bugs Life thing all over again. Or,
right. Yeah. Well, that's the reason why they canceled Newt. So hopefully, no, this looks good. It looks solid. The story looks great. The animation looks awesome. So I'm looking forward to it, just like you.
Yeah. That's cool. So that's kind of Was there any other ones that they announced?
Yeah, there was this last one. Yeah, they talked about Toy Story 4.
Ah, yes.
And this was a surprise, because honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I don't want another Toy Story. But then when they released finally the premise, the whole the story behind this one, I got me a little giddy and excited, because they mentioned that actually it was John Lasseter who mentioned that every Toy Story has had a different type of story theme. Like like for example, the last one was like a Ocean's 11 like Prison Break type of movie. 2 was more like a discovery or rescue type of like friend thing. And the first one was always all about friendship and getting together. But anyways, he announced that this one was going to be a love story, and everybody's like, a love story? Like, okay, well, who could possibly be the love story? And he basically said this is the love story between Woody and Bo Peep, and everybody got like giddy because remember the third one, Bo Peep was donated, so we don't know whatever happened to her. So John Lasseter dived deep into it, and he said that basically this is the story of Woody rescuing Bo Peep from being given away and bringing her back to his life, and obviously a little love story. So it looks kind of cool. They didn't give us too much, but they definitely got everybody excited with that storyline. So I wouldn't mind seeing that story because, I did miss Bo Peep in the third one, and Woody and her just were always perfect in my mind. So I'm glad to see him come back.
Yeah, I think as well. I think with Toy Stories, I think with Pixar, it's probably because again it was their first movie. It's done huge money. I mean, they Toy Story isn't going away, and as long as they keep. I mean, Toy Story 3 was so good. I can see why they just keep looking. They go. There's so many stories they can tell with this.
Right.
It wasn't really one I was expecting to be announced, but no, it makes it cool. I think again it's a thing of you got generations of people growing up with these characters now that these are main Disney characters. They're all in the parks, they're all over the stores. These are big major characters, so it makes sense to keep them flowing.
Right, and then I mean that was basically the presentation, but I did want to notate one thing. On the show floor in the Pixar and animation area, there was a poster for Incredibles 2.
Yes, and Cars 3.
And Cars 3. I did not see a poster for Frozen 2 or Wreck-It Ralph 2. However, they were mentioned. So, but anyways, yeah. So Cars 3 and The Incredibles 2 was the one that drove me in the most. But obviously, because of time, they're not going to talk about much. So. But that was the animation panel.
Because I'm wondering as well, because that's that thing of the D23 Expo being 2 years, it might literally be along the lines of those movies could be 2-3 years away, and they're not maybe at that point where they can really show much other than like a thing. But no, it's just great to know. We've at least got probably the next 5 years of Pixar movies, or pretty much on that display thing with all those posters, just keep us busy for a while.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
And it's probably the same with Frozen 2 and Wreck-It Ralph 2. I suspect they're, a few years away yet because they don't want to rush Frozen 2. They don't want to mess that up.
Oh no, that one's their baby.
Nope. Okay. Well, that pretty much is going to wrap up the animation side from D23 Expo. And be sure to let us know your comments. Let us know. And say a big thank you to our sponsors over at Patreon and sortofapps.com, Magic Band Collectors, and also going to give a shout out to James at the Infinity Museum. Anyway, guys, you can always subscribe to us. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can subscribe on iTunes for the audio version, and you can also check us out on our social medias, Twitter, Facebook, etc., and at DisKingdom.com. So big thank you for A for going to the event, and we shall see you guys in another episode.
Later.